Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, hopefully I'll finish this one in less than 2 hours. 120-minute IPA is a 17.5% Imperial India Pale Ale from Dogfish Head Craft Brewery in Milton, Delaware. Welcome back everybody. Today I'm taking a look at 120-minute IPA from Dogfish Head out of Delaware. And it's the next entry into the Cellar Dive series, where I like to take a look at some of my cellared beer to see if maybe it's still good or maybe it's just kind of meh. I've been saving this one since 2018. That was a long time ago. I remember when I bought this, I bought a couple of them. I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to age this thing for a year, let alone almost 5 at this point. I haven't had it yet, but if you're not familiar with 120-minute IPA, this thing is a monster. On Dogfish Head's website, they say it's between 15 and 20% ABV. So when I mentioned 17.5 in the intro, that's just a median. They also mention on the website that this is the holy grail for hopheads. So let's get a look at it. We're going to open it. We're going to do all that stuff. Let's take a look at the label via the can cam. And this can cam is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? All right, let's take a look. So if we take a look here, we have this kind of parchment looking label. They've since changed it. The new one is black, and I think it has a lot of gold with a big hop on it. But this has a big hop cone. Again, it looks like parchment. It says Dogfish Head, 120-minute IPA, the Imperial India Pale Ale. Underneath that, this is a 12-ounce bottle. It says it ages well. If we turn it along to the side, it says, what you have here is the holy grail for hopheads. This beer is continually hopped over a 120-minute boil and then dry hopped for over a month. Enjoy now or age for a decade or so. And then it has all the cash deposit information. Brewed and bottled by Dogfish Head Craft Brewery in Milton, Delaware. You can find out more about them at dogfish.com. All right, so we're going to do what we do here. And I got myself my IPA glass. Haven't had to break out the IPA glass for any of this Cellar Series stuff for a while. So let's go ahead and crack this. And we'll put a nose on it. We'll see what we're getting out of here. And there we go. Got that little crack. Let's put a nose on it. Oof, this still smells. This still has a really bitter aroma to it. Like I said, I have not had this yet. I've been kind of waiting for the right moment. Cellar Dive series just like seemed like it was the most appropriate time. And I think I have another bottle or two floating around, but let's go ahead and pour this. It's coming out a really dark copper, almost an amber out of the glass, or out of the bottle. And we're just going to let it go. Wow, there's a lot of sediment that fell in out of the bottom. This thing still has some cake on the bottom there. And wow, that has a lot of sediment. As you can see from the overhead, it's only got about maybe like a quarter of a finger of head. It has a lot of sediment floating in it, as I mentioned. But the head itself is kind of like an off white color. It's like a bit, maybe looking a little bit towards like a tan or almost an orange. And if we hold it up here, yeah, I don't know if I was supposed to dump that sediment or not, but I'm a newbie to this whole thing with the 120-minute and all that great stuff. So you can see there is a lot of sediment floating in there. It has a really orange, dark, deep amber color, almost a brown, and I can barely see my fingers through the middle of this. On the bottom here where it's kind of open a little bit more, I can get a little bit more of that. Let's put the bottle right there so you can take a look at the label that I'm working with here. And it's got like this almost galaxy swirl on top. Let's take a nose on here. Whoa, like I said, big, huge, massive citrus aroma notes coming out of the nose. Maybe there's a bit of like a resin piney, but there almost has like a malty aroma in there too, like a sweet malt aroma. It's really very deep in there. I'm like super, I don't know, hesitant to try this, but let's go ahead and try it out. Cheers. All right, we'll talk about the mouthfeel first. Wow, that is bitter. I tipped my hand there. The mouthfeel on this is actually very thick. It has a very thick body. It's very coating on your tongue. It's not what I would think of a regular IPA or an Imperial IPA, a double IPA, maybe even a triple or a quadruple IPA. It's got a thickness to it. It's got like its own discernible kind of mouthfeel, tongue coating, like hop, oily kind of mouthfeel to it. It's a really different experience. I don't think I've had an IPA. I think this has to be a mouthfeel. It just kind of stands on its own. Let's talk about the flavor, because I'm breathing and I can feel the air hitting my tongue, all the alcohol that's been like kind of run through it. So let's see if we can kind of walk through it delicately, right? At first, when it hits my tongue, it has a very sweet flavor to it. Up front is very sweet. You get this like orangey sweetness, maybe a little bit of a malty in there. When you start to swallow, that's when the bitter really starts to hit. It hits the back of your tongue where kind of all those taste buds are hanging out. And it has like this, again, this really individual, specific kind of bitterness to it. I still can't get over that upfront sweetness. There is this malty kind of sweetness. Once it hits your tongue, once it goes down, you start to get this bitterness. You start to get the citrus bitterness. You start to get really strong, pithy, orange, like zesty bitterness. And then after that, there is this kind of piney, hoppy bitterness that just piles right through that. It just pushes through because you're getting that kind of sweet, orangey, malty sweetness on the upfront. On the swallow, you're getting that bitterness, and that's where it's really starting to push itself. The aftertaste is this very unique, again, everything about this beer is very unique. On the finish, you're getting this very unique kind of alcohol bite to it. It adds to that bitterness. Again, it's like it's like when you rubbing alcohol or something on your skin, you can feel the air hit it and you can feel like it evaporating on your skin. It's the same kind of thing with this, but on my tongue as I'm breathing in and out and talking. This is definitely a sipper. Once you get over that initial very strong bitterness, your taste buds, your mouth starts to become accustomed to that bitterness, and it's not as bitter. That first one was like puckeringly bitter because I just didn't know what to expect. I was just so hesitant to kind of try it because I wasn't sure what I was in for. But as subsequent drinks and it kind of opens up a little bit more, your taste buds get to be used to the flavor that you're getting here. Then it starts to become a little bit smoother, a little bit more subtle. You're not getting so much of that kind of bitterness or that sweetness. I mean, that's still there. That's definitely still there. And that alcohol evaporation feeling on your tongue is still there, but it becomes a little bit more normal, like normalized to you, and you become a little bit more accustomed to it. You become a little bit more used to it. It's a pretty unique beer, and I still can't get over just how much is floating in here. It's not like deterring me at all. I'm not like, oh, gross. It's got all this particulate floating in it. It's like suspended. You can see how very thick the inside of the bottle. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but if we hold it up there, maybe to the light a little bit, I can see it on the bottle itself, on the neck of it. There's just all this like stuff, particulate left over from all the hops that this was boiled with and everything. So it's just a very unique experience. I really would like to try one of these fresh now. Maybe I'll go pick one up of the newer kind. I don't think the formula has changed or the recipe. So it's probably, I would think it's pretty consistent. Again, I don't know. This is the actual first time I'm ever drinking one of these beers, one of the 120 minutes. If you've had one before and if you notice that they change year over year, let me know, because I'd like to pick up a 4-pack and try one again, age it for several years. I have another one of these, so maybe I can even, at some point, who knows if YouTube will even be around by then or if I'll be around, but let's say in 5 more years, maybe we could do like a 10, a 5, and a 1 year side by side. I think that would be really interesting. But as it stands, super unique experience. I don't think this beer is like anything else I've tried before. It definitely has that IPA stamp on it, but it is such a different beast than an IPA. You can tell it lives in that lineage of an IPA, but it pushes the boundaries of what IPA can be so much further than just what a regular, even single or double or even triple IPA could do. All right, friends, that's been a 120-minute IPA from Dogfish Head. I can tell you my stomach feels really warm right now. Have you had this? Are you aging this? Do you think there's a limit on how long you should hold on to it? Can you do 10 years? Have you had one ever that's been longer than that? And what's been your experience? Let me know in the comments down below while you're down there. If you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell. I'm here talking about beer twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you, and you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer. Support your local breweries. Obviously, these guys are in Milton, Delaware, but support your local breweries wherever they are. And most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on the next edition of the Cellar Dive. Cheers.